Well, hello from sunny Maui. Okay, we, just like the community of people who are watching for this and putting everything together and really thought based on what we saw in the Bible and what we saw around the world, the table setting that seemed, stage setting that seemed to be happening in front of our eyes, was actually pointing to a 2025 Rapture event. And obviously that didn't happen. And in my home and in my heart, we're saddened, of course. We thought it was going to be that happening. It wasn't. Obviously, I've spent time with the wife and children before and afterwards, just, wondering what we might learn from this and apologizing for getting something wrong somewhere. Not that we're supposed to absolutely figure it out, and I don't think many people who are excited about a potential rapture every Feast of Trumpets, because a lot of people still think it's a Feast of Trumpets fulfillment, and that's fine. I do too. But I've always had low-level excitement. This year was just different. A lot of things really did point to it, and it just didn't turn out. And I'm very sorry if people did get their hopes up based on evidence that I still believe is real. It was real evidence. That doesn't mean it had to happen, and that's what I said in the videos too. But it is painful. It hurt me. It hurt because I don't want to hurt or misrepresent what God is trying to tell us. I don't think He puts these pictures in the Bible for no reason. And I don't think any good theologian thinks that the stories that are told in the Old Testament are just stories for no reason. So, I'm not going to throw out the hermeneutics. I'm not going to throw out how we approach the Bible and interpret it. And I'm certainly not going to throw out all the theology that I think is based on the truth. Every person who tries to interpret the Bible changes how they view things based on new information, or maybe they were wrong about something, or proven that they put too much weight into something. And that's okay. That is okay. During the time that they thought something different, they were misleading people, right? According to their own admission, if they grew or changed or thought something else, now that old person was misleading other people. Well, I don't know if it's our job to necessarily go make videos every time we make a change. Now, this is a dramatic moment, and so I certainly feel bad. I've shed tears with my family because I hate getting them excited and then letting them down in any way. It's my job to provide. I love providing. I love working. I love giving them things and showering them with gifts, and we go to church and we talk about the Bible. These are wonderful things, and we've actually grown so much through this together, and it's been wonderful. Now, we were let down, but we've already gone through a lot of recovery, and it's been so great to see. My wife and I talk about how when things test you in life, or in your marriage, or in your faith, our marriage, just like many people's marriages, a good marriage, a biblical marriage especially, uses those opportunities to run closer to each other. Of course, my fear was that nothing happens this morning and last night, yesterday, and all of a sudden my wife is distancing herself, or my family is distancing themselves because of what I thought was real, but apparently there was too much weight placed on things, and I understand that, and that's why I'm so contrite to my family and to you guys, and I don't want that to be the case. But it's not all bad. It's not always so horrible. It's not the most despicable thing in the world that people got excited for good reasons and told people about it. That is not the it's not the end of the world. But the point is, they didn't go away. They did what I do in times of their need, and we all know it. We're in relationships, and those are opportunities. Just like my wife said, this is an opportunity for me to draw closer to you and show the love of God. Okay, it didn't work out the way that we thought. We misread things or put too much weight on something, she doesn't throw out the whole Bible or our interpretation or what we feel is correct and good. We feel a lot of the same ways that all the Calvary Chapel and evangelical community feel about how to interpret the Bible. Well, those aren't all wrong. We learn them from the same people. Many of these people that are chastising us so harshly for saying this is like, well, if our theology is bad, then yours is bad. We can't do that. That's throwing out the baby with the bathwater. We don't do that. So it's been a joy to see how the love of God operates. 1 John 4:18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment, and the one who fears is not perfected or mature in love. Now, it's pointing back to salvation and how you have the fruit of the Spirit, but the point is that it can be very wonderfully applied, and we apply it in our marriage all the time by having these opportunities to show love to each other. And it's been wonderful, and I want the community of people who's been excited about this, the community of watchers who have been, I think, very legitimately interpreting Scripture. I don't think it's been abused. I understand that Jesus says that no one knows the day or the hour. I fully understand that. And he also tells us to be watchful in those same verses. And they also say, be watchful so that you won't be caught unaware. So I understand you want to say that no one knows the day or the hour, and I get that, but let's also address the other things that are said that we are saying, well, but it looks like it's important to be watchful. Well, what is being watchful if it doesn't mean anything? And that's why we go back to Ezekiel and say, but if you're watching and you see these signs coming, do something about it. Jonah was supposed to go to Nineveh and tell them they're being judged. So we understand that there's a community of people who want to just deride anyone who makes any, it's not even necessarily a prediction. Yes, there were some people that made specific predictions and laid it down and said that they heard from God. Okay, that's on them, and that's between them and God. I get that. But largely, this group was just people putting the signs together, including a lot of biblical signs, and just identifying what we thought this would be a high candidate rapture year. Yeah, we were excited about it, and we're very contrite, myself included. But if you look at the comments on all these people's pages, I'm not going to list them because there's too many. There's lots of wonderful ones. We're looking for their content. So many of these comments are so wonderful to see. Maybe Christian supporters are saying, please don't stop making content just because some other people tell you that you can't practice theology or biblical teaching because you put these signs together that really do point to this year. I'm keeping my evidence video up so that we can look back to it. They do point to this year, but it didn't happen. And that's okay. That's why we had that tsunami warning analogy. Like, I would rather the tsunami warning go off sometimes. The last time the community had said anything was like 2017, when the real sign from the real book of Revelation that was a real thing really occurred. So it's not all this esoteric nonsense. These are real things. And I love it that people are watching. And I love it that they're raising the alarm bells. And I do understand that there are some people that get disgruntled. I get that. That is a true thing also. And the mockers get to have their day. I understand that. That is a negative thing. But is it the only thing? Is it the only thing that comes out of this? I can promise you, the only experiences I have are that the family that we have communicated with more and more. I mean, we've been evangelizing for years, but there's no urgency with it until something like this comes. They got eyes in their head too. They got a brain. Just because they're denying Christ doesn't mean they don't see that a lot of the stuff we're pointing to is actually real. I mean, it very much feels like there's a shift in the world. There's end times thoughts from secularists also. So we get to point them to the book of Revelation. Everybody in my family's read the book of Revelation. They've come back to me, back to my wife, not with mocking. They've come back saying, thank you. We see that you've probably reached a lot of people with your message. The end times do seem like they're close. And we understand you're probably, but they they don't put as much stock in all this as we do, because they're just now coming to the realization that all this might be true, this Bible stuff. Of course it is. So they're coming to us saying, you guys seem like you're really excited about it. I'm sorry it didn't happen. But they're also excited because they've learned more. And what's so interesting is that now, instead of their lens being the secular worldview lens that the world tells them to see things through, they've actually shifted. Like almost everyone that we're seeing is now shifted to where they see how God is saying that it's going to happen. That's a beautiful thing. They're taking the Bible seriously, and hopefully they're saved. So am I saying that it's all good, that everybody did all? No, there's bad stuff that comes out of it. I agree. But that's not the only thing. And I can very seriously say, in my mind, if I'm looking at a group of some other religion, like Hinduism or Muslim or something, and there's a small group within that is super excited because they see in their scriptures that the end times must be near, and they've got reasons for it, I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. But what I would see is if a larger group of their own was just tearing them down and attacking them constantly. To me, I would say, well, that larger group is the one that bothers me about that. And I think we need to be maybe a little more mindful of what fruit it's showing. I understand everybody wants to be right. I get it. But I can promise you this, just from life experience and from logic, that one person's being wrong doesn't automatically make everyone who is opposed to them right. That's not true. So everybody that has their own religious beliefs that was mocking people who thought the signs were pointing to this Feast of Trumpets, all those people aren't automatically right in every belief that they have. Every way they characterize things, every way they talk about it, doesn't make them right. Now, they made good points. I get it. I want to see what their theology is. They've said them in the comments. I think about that, but I've already considered all those things to get to where I am, and I still am. So I'm okay with all that, but I want us to just understand that people being wrong, that it wasn't the time, doesn't automatically make everybody else correct in everything that they say. So we just need to be careful. And then also, let's please try to show some fruit. That's the thing that bothers me the most out of all this. If I see the kid on the driveway getting excited and then the car goes by and it wasn't his dad, I don't get so mad at the kid. But I'm certainly bothered by his brother who was berating him the whole time for getting excited. Now, I get it. You're also excited. The community of people who was, kind of coming against this community, I get it. You are also excited. But what we're saying is we're excited and watchful. And it's okay to be watchful. That doesn't mean we're raising the alarm bells every year. I have seen none of these people raising alarm bells, maybe all the way back to 2017 when that Revelation sign came. So if you're saying every 8 to 10 years, Christians might think that, the signs are lining up and this could be the time, and they run out and tell everybody, hey, you better get to know Jesus because the end might be coming. I don't think that destroys Christianity. I think God wants us to be watchful. He wants us to be anticipating his return, and he wants us to warn others that judgment is coming. These are extremely biblical principles. So let's just try to practice some of this fruit, and let's make sure that we're contrite and that we're making sure that if someone is invoking the name of Jesus in their testimony, that they understand that's you just can't do that. If you believe it, that's fine, but you can't do it. And I don't think that necessarily makes them evil. They might have just been deceived. But I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who are willing to at least put it out there. And if it's wrong, then that's not good. You can't invoke Jesus' name when you're doing those things, which is why many of us never did that, because we were looking for the confirmation from the Bible and from the world that the Bible describes at the end. And yeah, we did think that it was there, and apparently it was not. So yes, the community should be in contrition now, and we are. But I also want to make sure that doesn't mean that everything that community thinks is wrong, because if that's the case, then most of the evangelical Christian community is wrong about a lot of things, because that's what we're espousing too. We're also watchful, and we also put a high probability on this Feast of Trumpets, and it wasn't true. It was a false alarm. But like I said with the tsunami warning, I believe that to be a good analogy, and I think it's true. My wife came up with it. And that is, I would rather have a tsunami warning system that has some sensitivity, not way too high, because then it's just going off all the time, but it has to go off sometimes and be wrong. Yeah. And so I apologize for that part that I played in it, but at the same time, I like that we're watching, and a lot of good has come out and will come out from it. Thank you, guys. God bless you very much, and God bless the community of watchers and the community of people that have been kind and loving, and I even am grateful for the group of people that are raising the red flags about people who are trying to set dates, because that's important also to balance and make sure that we're not getting the system going off way too much. I think that's all a good thing, but I think we need to show more love in that, because what people are watching is not as much this part. They're watching a lot of how we are to each other, and I really think that's the most important thing. So God bless you guys. I appreciate everyone that's been watching all these videos, and we'll see you soon.